My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake.
And welcome, and happy Monday to everybody out there in Lake County. Look, whether you are quarantined, self-isolated, or just out and about living your life because you're essential, we want to welcome you and say thank you. It was another great day in South Lake County. Look, we are joined by Dr. Christine Chin-Sim, the founder and owner of Change for Leverage. Don't feel bad, Christine. Dr. Chin-Sim, I mess up somebody's introduction at least 3 times a week. I'm getting better. I used to do it every time. The Leverage for Change is counseling and consulting. It's an amazing mental health organization and business here in Lake County. We're really glad to hear her. She is with us because, as usual, technology is making us all a little crazy. So she's going to sit with us while we open the show. We are going to do the gratitude check today. You know what? I want to say that I am grateful for my wife and her sense of humor. You know, it is so hard and so easy to get torn up. And one of the reasons Dr. Chin-Sim is with us today is because we're going to talk about dealing with despair. But, I get a little crazy when I get cabin fever. And my wife is right in there with the adventure. I want to say I'm grateful for Miss Pat and her willingness to laugh in the midst of crisis. The deal of the day today is actually offered by Dr. Chin-Sim and Leverage for Change. She is offering a Monday through Friday between 3 and 6 p.m. 30-minute sessions to talk about what you need to talk about. If you're feeling this thing and you don't have other resources, you can reach out to her. That 30-minute session is completely free. This offer has normally been made just for Claremont, but if you are within the sound of South Lake TV and you mention the Joe Knows South Lake, you can live in Mineola or Groveland or anywhere within our community and get this session. So we really, really appreciate that. All right. How we doing, Dr. Chin-Sim?
Doing great. You
good so far?
Yes, I'm good.
See, this is the fun part. It's all fun and games till you go live. Look, Dr. Chin-Sim is going to talk to us about dealing with despair and depression. We're going to go to commercial break. And when we get back, we're going to get started. You need to hear this because if you're like me, being in the house is starting to drive you crazy. See you in a minute.
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
Okay, so Noah wasn't aware, but we decided that we're going to take Noah's braces off today, just a few weeks early. Noah, we're going to take your braces off.
Is that okay?
You okay with that?
Yeah.
For real?
When I came into the orthodontist today, I had no idea that my braces were going to be taken off.
Alright, you ready to do this? Okay, a little bit tight. I'm going to push on this tooth here, okay? Great job. He was in treatment for about a year just to fix some of the alignment of his upper and lower teeth. And we just surprised him. Alright, are you ready to take a look? They look really, really good.
I finally get to feel what it feels like without braces anymore. I love my new smile and everything looks great.
Are you tired of having drugs or alcohol ruin your life? Do you need to get off pain pills but still maintain pain relief? My office in Tavares has programs to help you. While not covered by insurance, program fees are affordable. My name is Alan Zupkin. I'm board certified and have helped thousands of patients achieve these goals. Please call me for further information.
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, I am so excited. The truth is, I've known Dr. Chin Sim through the Chamber of Commerce for about a year now. An amazing lady, and once again, circumstances have put me in a spot to finally reach out and take some action to meet somebody. I was so excited about this. I was speaking to somebody else, and they mentioned Dr. Chin Sim, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'm going to call her. She was so sweet to call because even though we're isolated, the weekend was crazy. I didn't end up talking to her, I think, till yesterday. And she was so gracious to agree to come on last minute. I just want to say thank you, Dr. Chin Sim, and once again, welcome to Joe Knows South Lake.
You're welcome.
Dr. Christine Chin Sim is a psychotherapist is that you?
I'm not sure. I don't see it.
Who is that? I don't think that's us.
Okay.
That's probably Jay. We'll give him a hard time later. Dr. Christine Chin Sim is a psychotherapist whose doctoral degree focused on human relationships and human behavior. She is passionate about empowering individuals to grow and develop themselves first so they have the ability to create and maintain better relationships, achieve their goals, and succeed in every area of their lives. Dr. Chin Sim comes to us as someone with a great amount of experience in practice. I mean, I would read them, and I was putting together her introduction, and I figured I would shoot from the hip because literally her resume is as long as my arm. There wasn't anything I could cut out, but she is a renowned speaker, author, paper writer. She is very, very high qualified. Thank you so much for coming in. Let me get started. Why do we why does that anxiety and that despair? I mean, we're in our homes. You think that'd be the safest place to be, the place that we feel the most protected, but that despair and that anxiety is building up. I know I felt it last week. Why is that?
Well, it's a matter of choice. When we're in our homes, we usually choose to be there, right? Now we don't have the choice to actually just go about our business as we normally did. So that choice is taken away from us in so many areas of our lives right now, especially in the social arena, where we have to have this social distancing of 6 feet away from each other. We can't go visit people we are not really connected to, and even trying to go to the supermarket is just a whole chore because you have to be so careful. You have to stand 6 feet apart. So the choice is really, because we are, as human beings, we want to be able to choose, right? And when that is taken away from us, we feel disempowered, and so that is one of the causes for anxiety right now.
So if I'm reading you right, this is a lot about our sense of control.
Yes, our sense of control. Now, there's a human need that we have, and it's a sense of certainty. And the fact is, we want to be certain that when we go to the supermarket, there's going to be food there for us. We want to be certain that we can go outside and we'll be safe. And so when we have that sense that certainty is taken away from us, then we feel that we've lost control of some area of our lives. Now, the sense of control, the uncertainty and the lack of control is really something that is always with us. It's always with us because when we get up in the mornings, we are not certain really what is going to happen for that day. We have our plans, right? But we're never certain. But this type of uncertainty is magnified by the fact that we do not have control over a lot of the things that are going on. So we have control over ourselves. We can stay home. We can choose to stay home. But then everybody else, we can't tell them or dictate to them. The government they can tell them what to do, but you can see that even then, people are doing their own thing, right? Their people are still going out and doing their own thing. So that lack of control is something that really is not something that human beings like, right? We don't like to not have control over anything that we want to do. And even though, as I say, it is really not, it's not that we have control over everything in our normal lives, but we felt that we had more control. Because, say, for example, we were to go outside and there was an accident. We had different routes that we were able to take, right? But right now, this virus is global, and it's affecting everyone. And so we don't have that kind of control. And that loss of control is what is really causing a lot of anxiety and fear and worry right now.
You know, it's kind of a cool concept. I know that Miss Pat and I do a lot of work with alcoholics and addicts and their families, and we find that both addiction and codependence, and this is when the world is normal, addiction and codependence always seems to stem out of an event or a time frame that somebody lost control of their lives, and that those kind of unhealthy behaviors are what allow them to get control back.
Right.
But we're sitting in our houses. We can't even engage it. I mean, I've had to deal with some people, you know, who are trying to drink away that lack of control.
Yes.
What are some of the things that we can do? I mean, how do we recognize that we're getting to that place? You know, there's the well, okay, I'll sit in the house and I'll accomplish some things. Is it because, you know, our projects are starting to run thin? I know everybody's planting a garden, doing that honey-do list, painting a room. You know, it seems like Lowe's is a busy store. You know, I mean, Home Depot sure seems to be doing well. Is there a way we can recognize how this is starting to get out of control?
I think you'll notice when you start having no purpose, when your sense of purpose, you know, now you just get up in the mornings, you don't even take a shower, you don't even brush your teeth, you're still in your PJs all day, you're walking around just kind of aimlessly, have no purpose, nothing that you really want to do. That's when you know that you're in trouble, because that is going to lead to depression. That is going, and you're not reaching out to anyone, you're just kind of just like in your own little world. That's when you know that you're in trouble. So to help with that and to prevent that is really, you have to have, you know, in our everyday lives, we normally have a routine, right? Our lives are filled with routine. We get up in the mornings, we get a shower, we get the children dressed or whatever it is we do, take them to school, and we go to work, and we work all day, we come home, we have dinner, you know, there's a routine. So what we need to do now is to put back some sense of routine in our lives, so that we can feel that our lives have a sense of purpose. Because we as human beings need to have purpose in our lives. Otherwise, we just get down into that place. A lot of people who have suffer with depression, and they have no sense of purpose. They have nowhere they're going. They don't see where they're going. And so this can really end up in that kind of a feeling of depression if you let it get out of control. So I'd say the first thing you need to do is write it down. Write down what you normally do. So, for example, you want to be able to do things that's going to help you grow. Because one of the human needs is growth. You need to grow, right? And so something that you can do is you can learn a new skill. Okay, think in your mind that maybe when we go back to, maybe when I was at work, I just didn't have time to learn Microsoft Word or, you know, Excel. I need to brush up on some of those skills for work to really make me do a better job, allow me to do a better job. It could be also that maybe we could teach our kids a skill. Right? We could teach our kids a skill, or we could learn maybe cooking, certain things that we may want to try cooking. We could go on YouTube and learn to, you know, learn some new practice some new recipes. So therefore, this kind of the growth, part of that growth is going to help us to feel some sense of purpose in our lives. We're going to feel that we're accomplishing something, right? And the next thing we need to do is to feel significant. We need to feel that we're playing our part in the world. We're contributing something to the world. We're doing something. Our lives mean something that, you know, because we're alive, the world is a better place. So we have to do something that's going to cause us to be significant. Right now, the thing of what they are asking us to do is that we need to really just, you know, manage that social distancing. And if you feel that you can help somebody around you, you have elderly neighbors, check in on them, you know, do whatever it is that you can do to play your part in just making this time a better time for everyone.
You know, I really liked what you said about writing it down. It's really funny you said that thing about routine, because last week, you know, normally when I get dressed for the show, I'm dressed professionally. I have my shirts. I have, my trousers and my dress shoes, my black socks. All last week, I started the week in jeans and sneakers and my nice shirt. By Friday, I was wearing workout shorts underneath the shot, no shoes and socks on. And it's funny that I got up this morning and I put on my dress trousers and my wife said, "Pants? Are you going someplace?" It was almost like I almost intrinsically knew that I needed to have some semblance of dressing the part. I actually said to her, I have to be in costume for today. You got to dress the part. Mm-hmm. And that's cool. And I like the other thing that you said about making a list, not just of those things that we normally do, but that list of what makes you feel significant. And it's so much easier to put your thoughts down on a list on paper, instead of just saying, I could call, I could do this. Write down all the things you feel like you can do realistically and then do some of them, right? That's the beauty of paper. Right. So once we get to that place where we've written it down, mm-hmm. how do we take that next step? Because I'm notorious. I can make a list all day long and do nothing on it.
Well, then you have to know that what you're going to do is going to really add to your sense of self, improve your self-image. And if that's the feeling that you want, then you will find a way to do it. You have to ask yourself. You have to have that question answered in your mind. Why am I doing this? Is it because I'm just doing this just for no reason, or do I have a purpose in mind? Because the bigger your why, the greater your motivation is to get it done. So if you feel like you're really in a rut and you're stuck and you feel as if, as you said, you're just getting up in the mornings and you're putting on your PJs and you're just basically chugging everything down in the kitchen and whatever it might be, and you just you don't even take a shower, you're just walking around aimlessly, not doing anything, then that when you get dressed, you feel better. I'm sure that anybody can tell you that when they get dressed versus when they just walk around in PJs, that they feel better. It's a feeling, and that feeling generates a different behavior. That is a whole thing. Our feelings generate behaviors, and it depends on the feeling that we generate, the meaning that we give to the problem. So I'm going to go through this because this is something that I'm going to, that is very important.
So I love this idea about one of the signs is not doing those things. Are you brushing your teeth? Or in my case, shaving. But you're not talking about one day. You're not talking about.
No.
You're talking about if you string together a couple of days. You haven't shaved. You haven't showered.
Right.
You've worn the same nasty clothes. Yeah. You haven't left the house. I'm always telling people, get out of the house.
Yes.
Even if you're in an apartment, you can take a walk around the parking lot.
Yes.
Something, right?
Yeah. And nature is one of the best de-stressors. If you just walk outside and look at some trees and some animals playing in the trees, it is and the sunshine is one of the best de-stressors that you can, and it's free. It's now, still something that we can do, right? It's free. We can
free is for me.
Yes, right. We can still do it. I wanted to go back to one of the things that I mentioned is that just the way we handle things, and something that you could use to handle just the anxiety and the situation that we find ourselves in. And it's really, everything is going to start in your mind. Everything begins in our mind. Everything that we encounter, the stimulus that comes into our awareness, we give a meaning to that, right? We give a meaning to that thing, that stimulus. It could be somebody walking toward it that doesn't look too safe. Somebody who somebody who looks like it could be somebody who may give you trouble, attack you, or want to rob you, or whatever it might be. But perhaps it's not. Maybe the third person is not like that. But some people will give that stimulus the feeling, the meaning that that person is going to rob me, and now they generate a kind of a feeling that goes with that stimulus, right? They generate a feeling, and that feeling creates an emotion. And that emotion decides how you're going to respond or behave. So anytime, what we can do while we're trying to manage our anxiety is just anything that comes in our environment, we have to be able to change the meaning that we put around that stimulus. For example, as I said, it could be somebody that we see walking towards us and they look like they might be somebody who might hurt us, and we are going to now generate fear. But we could also think that that person is just out for a nice walk, and that's going to generate a different feeling. You see what I'm saying? So it really is the meaning that we give to the stimulus that comes into our presence that is going to decide how we react, we respond to situations.
You know, I'm so glad you've touched on feelings, because it seems so much like, you know, and I bring it back to what you said earlier about choice. You know, that sense of lack of control, you know, creates a feeling, which is what descends into things like anxiety, despair, and depression.
Right.
And so it sounds like it's just as simple in a lot of our cases. I don't want to downplay anybody that's clinically depressed, or, you know, that is dealing with some medical condition that causes this, you know, but for the most of us, for the greatest part of us, it sounds like it's just a decision to not feel that way. It's to find other ways to feel.
It's a decision to choose a meaning that you put around that experience. For example, what we're going through, we can give it the feeling that, you know, this is horrible. This is going to, you know, cause all kind of loss of jobs, and it's caused that, and I don't know what's going to happen then. And then you can give the meaning that, wow, this is giving me time to spend with my family. This is giving me time to maybe just make different choices that I was not able to make when I was, you know, going to work every single day. Maybe I could now start to work out and do something for my health. Maybe I could now bond more with my spouse and my children, you know. So it depends on the meaning that we give to this situation. And I think that when we realize, you know, that what I'm saying might not be easy to do for a lot of people, but I think that once we realize that we really have no control, and this is a global epidemic, and we did not do anything to contribute to this epidemic, so that all that we need to do is to do the best that we can do in our little space, in our little corner of the world that we can. And what we do have control over are the decisions that we make for ourselves. How are we going to understand this? What meanings are we going to give to this situation so that we can really thrive instead of get stuck in that place?
You know, it's so cool that you're saying this, because I'm constantly telling people that, you know, we all get torn up about politics and economy and all sorts of things that are completely out of our control. I mean, realistically, if you're not a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, if you're not, you know, a member of Congress, right, you know, or you know, in some governmental position, yeah, you know, that has the authority, you really have no ability to change any of it. What you do have the ability to do is to control and change yourself and your reaction to it.
Yes.
You know, I can respond to this by sitting in my home, like you said, just not shaving and not brushing my teeth and not showering, or I can get out of my house and wave from 6 feet distant, you know, and to go around my neighborhood and do a sunny face, right?
Right.
Stay off Facebook. I'm telling people now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay off Facebook. You can turn the news off.
Yes.
Right? This is something I can control. Look.
Yes.
I am completely fascinated. I'm so glad you came on. We're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit more about this despair and some of the things we can do to manage it. Maybe some of the ways we can help our family. We'll see you in just a minute. Don't go away.
Okay.
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
Check out these gourmet deals from Bergeron Claremont, like our daily deals. Milkshake specials. Kids eat free. That's right, kids 10 and under eat free every Monday with purchase of an adult combo. Choose from delicious protein combos like beef, chicken, lamb, fish, veggie, and even the Impossible Burger. Milkshakes are buy one get one free Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. Stop into Bergeron Claremont today to take advantage of our daily deals, like the Monday Crispy Chicken Combo, the Tuesday Falafel Combo, the Wednesday Angus Beef Combo, and the Thursday Spanish Beef Combo. Gourmet deals from Bergeron Claremont, located just off Highway 27 and the Epic Theater Shopping Plaza. Bergeron, millions of possibilities, endless combinations.
Hello, my name is Michael Singh with Singh Insurance and Financial Services. Our goal is to build trust based on a clear understanding of how your insurance policy protects you, your family, and even your business. When was the last time you took a good hard look at your insurance coverage? Would you be open to the possibility of reviewing your policy with me? One review of your policy can save you valuable time and money. Call me today to set up a review of what may be available to you.
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
Welcome back. We are so excited that Dr. Chinsim, Christine Chinsim from Leverage for Change is with us today. Really grateful to have you with us. Before the break, we were talking about some of the things that we can do to manage our despair, how we can touch lives and get out of our cycle. Instead of a downward cycle, go on to maybe an upward cycle, to choose the way we feel. Dr. Chinsim, that's great for me, right? But an awful lot of people are now home with their children. I know statistically across the nation, we are seeing greater amounts of domestic violence, child abuse being reported. We're hearing from all sorts of sources that mental health, calls are going through the roof. Because people are, their children are upset. How do we deal with this? It's hard enough to deal with us alone, right, in isolation. But now we're surrounded by our family. How can we help our family, in particular our children? Because they've come home, they still have to do schoolwork. Hopefully that's providing some normalcy. Mm-hmm. But they may not be doing it because they're seeing the news. They're wondering, why aren't we in school? Mm-hmm. They know they should be looking forward to summer vacation, but they have no clue why they're not around their friends now. Can you give us a little bit of insight into that?
Well, children are very smart these days, and they see what's going on. The mistake I don't want parents to make is to not sit there and talk to them. Children want to be heard, just like anybody else, really, but especially children want to be heard. And what parents need to do is not minimize or say, everything, whatever, we can't do whatever it is. And just kind of give them a little short answer. You need to sit with your child and really just hear them out. A lot of times they will have a lot of questions. And if you do not have the answer to the questions, be honest and tell them you don't have the answer to the questions, right? But what they need more is to feel a connection with their parents at this time, and to trust that their parents is going to be there for them no matter what, that they're going to be them. And so just to be able to give them that sense of security right now when everything is so uncertain and insecure in the world, that if they can sit with their children and just be open and explain what's happening and tell them the truth about what's happening, and because children are very smart, and when you try to tell them something that's going to just kind of like soothe them, to let them go away, they understand that too. And this is actually, especially for the younger children, because one of the most important times in a child's attachment in a person's attachment is when they're children, right? So at this point, you want to be able to really give that child a sense of security that mommy and daddy, or mommy or daddy, will be, whoever the caregivers are, we're going to be here for you. We're going to do our best that we can for you. We cannot maybe be frank with them, tell them, maybe we'll not get all the things that we normally have. Things have changed, but we want you to help us as well. Work with them. Don't treat them like little things that you put aside and then you do your thing and then they do their thing. Include them in that, and in the aspect of planning. And so they also feel a part of the plan, because that also gives them a sense of self-worth and significance as well, that children need to build their self-image as they grow older. And, after this is through, when they look back, they'll feel that they were a part of their, just handling all this thing with their parents. So don't try and shelter them. Don't try and shelter your kids. Yes, there are certain things you're not going to tell them, like these really, horrible things like deaths and all that kind of stuff. You'll see it. I'm sure they see it. But if they talk to you about it, talk to them about it and say, yes, some people are dying. It's just as simple as that. You have to be really very honest with your kids and speak to them as if they are they understand what you're saying, because they do. From very young ages, kids understand what you're saying and what's happening. And it's when you hide it and try to kind of dismiss it that they get into problems, because they know something differently, that you're not telling them the truth.
So we could sit down with our children, and I would imagine giving them a sense of control. You talked about making them part of our plan,
Yes.
or at least part of the planning stage.
Yes.
We could try to lead them through some of these exercises that you talked about. Would it help? I mean, children need structure.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons school is so beneficial. But within that, would it help to let them, I don't know, play, you can give them structure, but let them choose what they're studying at each moment of the day,
Yes.
or when or what to eat for lunch,
Right.
And that helps with the children we can control.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's face it. But then kids turn, there are a lot of middle school and high school students that are home.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know from before there was a pandemic, I had a lot of teenagers in my house because I have a bunch of kids. And, getting them to brush their teeth and shower on a regular basis is tough when life is regular. At what point, and I'm thinking mostly of middle schoolers and teenagers, at some point it gets difficult because they are just as susceptible to things like depression and suicide, and more in some cases. How do we encourage them and make them part of the process without the argument phase? It's so hard for a kid to understand, look, if you just showered and got dressed today, you'll feel better, right? Because they just don't see the point. Can you give us any advice on how to cut through that for maybe the tweens and teens?
Well, it's really a difficult process with the tweens and the teens to really tell them what to do and have them follow through a lot. But and this stems from the relationship too that you had with them before all of this. You see, everything is going to be, it's not as if now all of a sudden know that there's a problem that they're going to listen to you. If they didn't listen to you before, they're not going to listen to you now. So this is why it's so important to have had a better, kind of a relationship with the kids before, where they know that there are consequences to their behavior. They know that when you say something, it's because you believe it's the best thing for them to do. Now, the only thing that you could possibly do is that maintain that, you're working with them, treat them as people who understand, not just like telling them what to do for no reason, because they want to have a say. And so you may ask them, so which one, how would you decide to do this? There's a way to ask, for example, say you want them to brush their teeth. You might say to them, so if you don't brush your teeth for 5 days, how do you think that will make you feel? How do you think, or how do you feel if they haven't done it? And why don't you try brushing it for 5 days and tell me how you feel? So you give them a sense of choice, and they feel as if they have a little bit of power there. But you're giving them a sense of choice to make their own decisions. But it is a decision that hopefully that they'll choose the correct thing to do, right? But as I said, that it's really a time now to really build that relationship if you never had it before. And it's going to be difficult, but you have to start somewhere. And this is they're a captive audience right now. Right? They're a captive audience right now. So you should try and just build relationships with your children at this time. I think this is one of the best periods. Have them to participate in the whole thing, in the cooking, in the cleaning, and tell them, you're thankful that they're able, to do this with you. Let them feel valuable, let them feel valued. And children want to be people. Anybody wants to feel valued and an important part of any process. So if you can do things that make your children feel valued and that they're doing something to help this pandemic, then they will start to feel as a part of it. You want to have a buy-in. You want to have a buy-in to the whole thing, not like you're the master and you're telling them what to do, right? Because children, especially when they come to tweens and the teens, you have to be able to talk to them and really just kind of let them understand what's going on, and let them know that you need their assistance in this to make this work. So.
Do you know, I found in raising my own kids, and I think I discovered this, I think, perfectly by accident. So it's not because I'm all that smart, but I never believed in talking down to middle schoolers or teenagers. I always tried to treat them like they were young adults. And even today, I don't, and it's easy to do when they're your own kids, because you see theoretically, they're not as smart or as experienced as all the people around you, right? Would it help to give them a sense of responsibility? I can remember being shocked by how much my children had a buy-in when it was their responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
They paid the consequences if it didn't happen, but they also reaped the rewards for doing a good job over time.
Right.
Is there... Do you think there's some validity to that? I mean...
Oh, yes. And as I mentioned, you need them to feel as if they are part of this process that's helping to really manage this pandemic in their small way, in their home, by doing what they need to do, keeping clean, washing their hands, social distancing if they go outside. So if you can, just kind of let them know that they are doing their part in doing that. They feel significant and they feel as if they're a part of the process. They are part of the process. They feel that they are, a part of if it fails or if it doesn't. So they, and when they do succeed, you tell them that, I'm so proud of you. You've done this, and I really feel so proud of you, and you could do it. So that they feel that sense of reward as well. And as you said, they also need to know that there are consequences to their behavior. And maybe you might use other things that does not directly link to what they did, but or something in the past that they did that may have turned out in a bad way because of what happened, and to show them that there are consequences to everybody's behavior, to my behavior, to their behavior, not just to children's behavior. So it's like everything that we do, we either going to benefit from it or we're going to reap the rewards of something negative. So just if we can, the real thing is really to be able to communicate with our kids in a way that they understand, they can buy into the process of just being a part of the process versus feeling as if they're being directed through the process by somebody, who is in charge.
I think it's so important for children to understand that they are not just the servant of the family, but they are part. And it's so easy to slip into when your kids become teenagers because they're older. You can trust them with more things, and it's very easy to start to assign them all the dirty jobs you don't want to do because you're too busy.
Right.
And what I personally found is maybe asking them to set up those jobs, but then doing those jobs with them.
With them.
Is a whole lot. And I'm not saying that because I was terribly good at it.
Right.
Is particularly for my older children, it took me a while to figure that out. Whereas I was much better at it with my younger children. How do we determine that? And let me ask, just actually on a side question. The kids are going to drive us crazy. They are. Yeah. And we're seeing a lot of funny memes about it, but it is a real thing. How do we recognize that we're about to go over the edge? Can you just give us a couple of quick signs for us to be able to say, hey, maybe I'm getting too invested in this discussion?
Well, every time we start to feel whenever anger or some kind of emotion is going to come, you always feel it inside of you. You have to get in touch with the feeling inside of you. And when you start feeling something churning up in your stomach and in your chest, and that you're feeling that you're going to be out of control, either you walk away and go take some deep breaths and calm down and come back. But it's also good to not just walk away, but to tell the person that you're going to flare up on or potentially flare upon that, you know what, I'm feeling, I'm getting this feeling right now that's not very nice. I'm feeling like I'm going to explode and say something I shouldn't say. So I'm going to go walk away, calm down, and we'll come back and we talk about it. Right? It's important to tell them that what's going on in you so they understand what's going on and not just walk away. Because if you just walk away in the middle of some kind of a quarrel or confrontation, then what's going to happen is that the person's going to feel that you don't care. There's a different meaning that's given to that. Right? So you have to say to them, you know what, Connie or Stevie or whoever it is, I'm getting a little, really worked up right now. I'm feeling that I might say something that I'm going to regret. So I'm going to go over there and take a few minutes and just calm down. And when I feel back to my, I'm normalized, I'll come back and we can talk about this. Right?
I think, and then two, I want to make a distinction between walking away for a period and shutting down the conversation. Okay, I know that there have been people in my life that I've had conflict with, and in my house, we had a rule that you didn't just get to end the conversation. Even Dad didn't get to end the conversation, unless it was in prayer and reconciliation, right? And of course, you bring other people into your family as your children get older. When there have been people I've had conflicts with, and the greatest frustration I've always had was everybody doesn't grow up like that. So, many of them, their answer would be to shut down the conversation, walk away. I'm done with this.
Yes.
Creates an entirely different, almost creates a whole new problem.
Yes.
So it sounds to me like what you're recommending, particularly with the children and the teenagers, is just honesty maybe that we haven't engaged in before. It's scary.
Right. And just honesty with them, just communicating as one person to the other, and help them to understand that their part in this is very important for this success as a group and family, and also for the entire country and the world, really, because it's a big problem. It's everywhere. It's a global problem. So their small part, it may not look important, but it's important in that everything they do is going to affect, something else. There's a consequence to every behavior. And so if we don't do this and they don't join as part of a group to really get this done, then it's going to affect other things.
And I love that you said it that way, because, it's so important to remember that giving your children a part, assigning a responsibility, and this doesn't just have to be children. If we're living with like 4 other people, yes, everybody should have a responsibility.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily just have to be like the dishes, sweeping. It can be, it's especially with younger ones, 8, 10 years old, it's your job to remind us to pray.
Right.
It's your job to remind us it's time to shut off the TV after 15 minutes.
Right.
We only need 15 minutes of an update.
Right.
There are all sorts of things you can do to assign that responsibility to benefit everybody in the household, but give them a sense of control by engaging in their responsibility.
Yes. So they feel they're a part of this. They feel a part of the whole process, and they feel they're contributing in some way to the whole process, and that's important.
So, Dr. Chinsim, this has been a great interview, and we're running out of time. Like I said we would. I do this every day. What's next for you and for Leverage for Change? I mean, can you give us an idea of moving forward, what you're doing and how you're handling this?
Well, right now, this has given me time to really focus a lot on something that I'm working on, which is I'm creating online courses. Because I find that a lot of small businesses, a lot of individuals, a lot of couples, cannot afford a one-on-one therapy session, right? Or a coaching session. So what is good is that they can do these online courses. If they can purchase these online courses, it's always there for them to go back to and go over and over again. And they can train either their employees can do these courses, the individual can do these courses and work through that process themselves at their own time. So right now I'm creating some online courses. I'm actually calling my thing Leverage for Change University, and so I'm going to have different online courses. But one of the things is that I'm creating is also very good for teenagers and tweens, because it's good. A lot of children don't learn a lot of coping skills, a lot of things that we don't learn in school. We need to be successful in life. We don't learn coping skills. We don't learn communication skills. We don't learn how our mind and our thoughts affect everything about us and how we go and interpret the world and communicate with the world. It impacts our relationships. It impacts our social standing, how we interact in social arenas. It impacts everything. And so these are the courses that I'm going to be creating. And so as soon as I'm hoping by May, I'll get it done, up and running. And so hopefully, I'm not sure what will happen in May, but then I can start marketing it. But this is going to be for everyone. It's not just, it can help in any area of your life.
Tell us a bit about the 30-minute sessions you're offering and how people can get in touch with you if they need some more help or they've heard something, they want to reach out to you. Right. How do they tell us about that, and how do we get in touch with you?
So just call me at 954-483-0669 to make an appointment, so I can schedule you between the hours of 3 to 6, because then I am working on my stuff for the rest of the day. So I've decided to give that because I know a lot of people are out of work. A lot of people are not able to afford coaching or consultant sessions right now. So I thought my part was just to give back to something that I know. So just call me, and you might not be able to get the session the same day, depending on the how it's scheduled out. But I'm willing to work with you, talk to you about any situation that you're going through, and give you some insight as to how to get better or think in a different way that's going to cause you to behave in a different way. All right, guys. So I look forward to helping anyone who is willing to just call the number. I'm here for you to help you get through this process.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And when you call Dr. Chinsim, do not forget to mention Jono South Lake. So we're going to go to commercial break. When we get back, I'm going to give you final thoughts on the Cup of Joe for the day. We'll see you in a minute.
Jono South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
Your CBD store Claremont provides a wide range of high-quality, full and broad-spectrum CBD products. Topical creams, tinctures, water solubles, edibles, and even CBD products for your pets. From soil to oil, your CBD store Claremont sources and provides third-party lab tests for all products so that you know exactly what you're getting. Stop by your CBD store Claremont today to speak with one of our knowledgeable staff members to find the right CBD product for you.
50 West, pre-leasing now in Claremont. A first-of-its-kind commercial development in the Southeast. Contact us today to reserve your spot in this historic development. 50 West, unique, quality, Class A. For more information on leasing, contact Ashley Punn at 407-403-4165. Karen Arlano at 407-948-0767. Or visit lease at 50west.com.
Jono South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
That was absolutely fascinating. I want to thank Dr. Christine Chinsim and the Leverage for Change counseling and consulting for coming on and doing this. You know, our mental health is one of the things we need to protect. Don't forget it. Again, we've heard from another great mental health professional in our own community that is actually outlining a lot of common sense stuff, but stuff that's easy to forget when you get in the mix. Do not lose this interview. It will be on YouTube and it will be on Facebook later today. So if you need to come back and refer to it because you're feeling a little anxious and you want to take some notes or you need to be reminded, please, please, please come back to the recording. Okay, and your Cup of Joe today, this is no laughing matter. You're right. What's going on in our nation, in our world, is very serious. It is almost so serious as to, it is surreal. It is hard for the average person, for any human being to conceive of it. But humor can get you through. A great many of us deal with stress, deal with anxiety through humor. There is actually scientific studies done showing the physical, mental, chemical benefits of laughing. I made a post the other day. I'm not making fun of people who are protecting themselves. I'm making fun of our situation, and I'm going to do more of them, making fun of our situation. I want to encourage you. We're at a place where we can have a laugh. You only have two choices in life when something like this happens. You can laugh or you can cry. While crying can be cathartic, crying every day will just send you deeper down that rabbit hole. I want to encourage you that if you are really, really struggling, take a joke, set yourself up, joke of the day, tell a funny story, watch a comedian on TV, shut off the news, and give yourself a break. And don't take yourselves too seriously. You, your own brain, your family, your children, and your community will appreciate it. This has been, That's Your Cup of Joe for the day. This has been Joe Knows South Lake. I really, really want to say thank you once again to Dr. Christine Chinsim and Leverage for Change for coming on and doing this, especially since they were a little last minute. My guest for today had some issues they couldn't be on, and she filled in perfectly. And look, if you know somebody that should be a guest on Joe Knows South Lake, please, please, please let me know. I'm sure Jay has the information up. If I am still looking for a parent-student combo that has made the transition from the bricks and mortar school into the distance learning, reach out to me and let me know. And if you know anybody else who would be a good guest for Joe Knows South Lake, or, even though we're isolating, a good subject for us to go do an extension, an on-location thing like we did for Texas Roadhouse and for Claremont Elementary School, help a brother out. Send me an email, call me, send me a text. We would love to cover, we're trying to cover the community while this is going on. With all that said, I want to say there is greatness inside you. And like Dr. Christine has been using her greatness to bring out the greatness in others, you can use your greatness to bring out the greatness in others. Touch a life. You will change the world. You may never see the change, but it will change nonetheless. This has been Joe Carlisle and Dr. Christine Chinsim on Joe Knows South Lake. I will see you tomorrow, and I truly do love you. Bye-bye.
My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe Knows South Lake. Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors: